The Nintendo Switch 2 news keeps on rolling as we get closer and closer to the launch of this system. It is super highly anticipated, and I want to go over everything when it comes to rumors and more. So the biggest new information or rumor that's coming is with the brand new Pokemon game that's set to take place Gen 10, apparently next year, 2026. We got some details and information on that. So once again, this is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt when it comes down to everything here. But this one seems a bit believable based off of various sources that have also talked about this as well. So we've got a brand new Gen 10 leak. It's codenamed apparently Gaia and has emerged from a generally reliable Pokemon Leaks account, Central Leaks. Now, Pokemon Gen 10, codenamed Gaia, is apparently releasing exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2, which I do want to give you guys a little bit of backstory with that, because there was some murmurings or rumors that it could come to Switch 1 and Switch 2, but that has since been kind of quelled, and pretty much everyone is saying, no, this is going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 game in 2026. Now, this does coincide with the series' 30th anniversary. So Pokemon Gen 10, codenamed Gaia, is seemingly set to be inspired by the Cyclades, which is a set of Greek islands and will involve water travel from island to island. Now, we don't know for certain until this is revealed, but it's definitely something very interesting here. Central Leaks has the tweet, once again, exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, here's my thoughts on this. One, if they're going exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2, there's a number of different things they can do to help avoid some of the situations and problems that we've seen. Now, the good news is, overall, is it seems like the Pokemon Company and Game Freak have had their hands on dev kits, because they're able to get apparently a good free Pokemon patch coming up for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That's one of the free games that should be getting an update day one on the Nintendo Switch 2. We still have to wait and see exactly how good that patch is going to be, but even if they lock that baby at 30 frames per second, that would be significantly better than what we got before with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Nintendo Switch 1. But I'm hoping for a 60 frames per second patch, but we do know for sure Pokemon Legends ZA, based off what we saw there, is going to have an enhanced Nintendo Switch 2 version, which is definitely going to run at much higher frame rate than what we saw before when they first showed the game running on the Nintendo Switch 1. So it does seem like Game Freak does have the Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits. They've been able to work on it. And I'm thinking that with Nintendo Switch 2 and this new Gen 10 Pokemon game, they don't have to do anything crazy when it comes to the graphics in the game. They can just essentially take what they've done before, make that a bit more detailed, make it a bit more better, and make sure everything runs smoothly. Make sure that the frame rate is good. Put all the Pokemon that you need to put in there. Get all the content fleshed out. Yes, graphics are definitely important and it's part of the experience, and you definitely want to have better graphics, but you want to make sure that everything runs really well and you don't have the backlash and problems that they have with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, with the bugs and glitches, in addition to the frame rate being not great, on top of the graphics also not being good. So get the content done, get the frame rate and all of that running great, and then of course you can upgrade or you can improve upon what you've done before with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet when it comes to graphics. But yeah, it's very interesting. These Greek islands here, it seems like there's going to be quite a number of them, and of course it can be like a water adventure, an oceanic adventure overall here. So I'm interested to see exactly what gimmicks they put around to get from the different map to the different map. You're just going to be flying, you're going to be taking different water Pokemon, they're going to be underwater stuff that you can do. I think there's a variety of ways that you can make it pretty fun if this does turn out to be true. Once again, speaking hypothetically, if this does turn out to be true overall. But yeah, it's just about right here for Pokemon Gen 10, because the last one was Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and that was back in 2022. So we're already 3 years will be the anniversary this fall, and then of course next year that'll be 4 years since the last one. So it definitely makes sense. Pokemon Legends ZA, different, smaller team doing a different type of game. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what they do here, and with the power of the Nintendo Switch 2, I do expect the launch to be a lot smoother than what we got before with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But Pokemon Legends Arceus, that was pretty good overall. Just the graphics weren't necessarily great, but the frame rate and everything was solved. There wasn't as many bugs and glitches and all of that. I'm expecting Pokemon Legends ZA to also run good and also not have those issues. So we'll see what happens with Pokemon Gen 10 if this does come true. But I also want to see what happens to all the people that are unsubbed right now that want to make sure that you hit that sub button to get the best Nintendo Switch 2 content. So hit that sub button, hit that like button, and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop them. Let's go ahead and jump into the next topic here, guys. And we are going to discuss why the Nintendo Switch 2 is launching in June of 2025. Mr. Doug Bowser has talked about this in a recent interview, and he essentially said, hey, look, we're not locked into any specific time period, but we do plan these things out. Then I'll give you guys the real reason and what he actually meant and said here. So here's what Doug Bowser had to say in an interview with NPR. Quote, we like to think that the year is a year and that there are no specific time frames when you should or must launch video games. And so, as we looked at the games that we had prepared and ready to launch with the hardware, we thought June was a very good timing. It's the start of summer, and obviously with the Nintendo Switch 2, you can have a device that you can both play at home and play at home docked like a gaming console, or you can take it out of the dock and take it on the go. So it's a perfect game for summer travel. So yeah, it's one of those things to where we used to get the systems always launching in the holiday season. But over the last number of years, Nintendo, obviously with the Nintendo Switch 1 and also with the Nintendo 3DS, sometimes they do not launch in the holiday season, and you don't really have to. It actually makes more sense to me to launch it earlier. And if there's any issues when it comes to distribution, manufacturing, whatever, get all of that sorted out. And then by the time that the holiday rolls around, when you're going to have the highest concentration of people buying, you're all set, ready to go. The biggest problem with Xbox and PlayStation and what Nintendo's done in the past sometimes is they launch in the holiday season and the scalpers and the bots and everybody take up all the stock for the holiday, and people that really want one don't get their hands on one. Where if you launch it early in the year, you can kind of get all that going, get the supply chains and shipping going, and then by the holiday, yeah, it might still be in big demand, but you've already satisfied the craziest of the audiences, and hopefully you have a lot more stock flowing through. So to me, it makes perfect sense to launch in the first half of the year. They did it with the Nintendo Switch 1 in March of 2017, and it was a huge success. This time they're doing it with June. But I think that the biggest thing and what Doug Bowser actually means is that, yeah, you want to make sure that you have the games ready to go. If Donkey Kong wasn't going to be ready to July, yeah, then you don't want to launch the system in March because then they have to wait till July to get Donkey Kong. You want to make sure that you launch with great games and you give the third-party developers time to get their games ready too. So if it wasn't going to be till June or whatever the case is, then that's fine. But Nintendo has an incredibly strong launch lineup, actually the strongest launch lineup that they've probably ever had, in my opinion. First party wise, Mario Kart is going to kill it in the bundle, and obviously outside of it, people are buying that as well, even with the price increase. In addition to that, you have Donkey Kong, like I said. You're probably going to have Metroid Prime. You got Pokemon Legends ZA in the fall, in addition to Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed Worlds, the new add-on for Jamboree. You've got Metroid Prime 4, Hyrule Warriors, and a brand new Kirby Air Riders game, plus probably something else that they're cooking up. Drag Cross Drive is coming as well. So there are a number of first-party, smaller and bigger games, DLCs, and other stuff to pick up. So this is definitely a good launch. And third-party wise, this is the best third-party launch they've had probably since the Wii U days. But in my opinion, this is going to be a bit better than what the Wii U offered, because with the Wii U, you couldn't fully take those games portable. With the Nintendo Switch, you can fully take these games anywhere that you want. And there's very interesting games for the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. Much more Japanese support than what we saw for the Wii U launch overall. So for me, this is definitely the best time to get it done, and it seems like it falls in line with the development partners that they have and their own software. So that's really what's happening here. Games are ready, good marketing schedule, everything's set to go, all in order. That's when you get the system ready to go. So what do you guys think about that? You can let me know in the comment section below. But now we're going to move on to a Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order update. This is definitely good news because we've been hearing that people have been able to pick up Nintendo Switch 2s after the initial sellouts. So Walmart reopened their Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders, and multiple people I saw on Twitter were able to get a Nintendo Switch 2 or get a second one for a family member or whatever the case is. Also, GameStop has also continued to cancel bots and duplicate orders and will reopen inventory for Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders. So some people have potentially even got into that already or are going to as well. So GameStop is definitely working on it, and here is what their message was. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders have sold out online. We will continue to squash bot and duplicate orders to reopen inventory. Pre-orders are still available in store for the Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart bundle, games, and accessories. Check your local GameStop store for current inventory status and stay tuned for more updates regarding Nintendo Switch 2. So yeah, based on where you live, there are some places that do have pre-orders still available. So if you want to go pre-order a Nintendo Switch 2, you can definitely go pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2 and see if you can get it. So check your local GameStops to see if that's a thing in your area. Some places are completely sold out. It's really just depending on where you are. But online, it was a madhouse for the online pre-orders. Those things sold out. People were in lines or queues forever. Luckily for me, Walmart came through. I got myself hooked up, man. I got a Mario Kart World bundle, no problem. It was very easy. And I was able to get a Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller in addition to the official camera. No problem at all. No waiting in line or anything. Heck, I was waiting in line for nearly an hour for the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller at Best Buy, only for it to get canceled or say that there's no more pre-orders available for that. And Walmart, it was so simple. They just let me buy it. So it was definitely a very good experience for me at Walmart. What I do know is that people that went to GameStop and actually went physically to the store had a good experience. If you got there early enough, they tell you how many that they have, and they'd also hand you a card and say, hey, what do you want? So when you get up to the register, they know exactly what you're getting. They can put it into the computer and they can get you down for those items. So definitely a good experience from GameStop and Walmart. Best Buy, good for some, terrible for others. Target, good for some, terrible for many. So just one of those things, man. It is what it is. This is kind of how pre-orders go. It's kind of like this for almost every single big system that comes out. So what do you guys think about this? Did you guys pick up any of the bundles or pre-orders or whatever's going down? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, next up, we're going to talk about Mr. Masahiro Sakurai. Speaking of the Nintendo Switch 2 and getting the system or pre-orders, apparently Masahiro Sakurai says that he got a Nintendo Switch 2 via the lottery that they're having in Japan, which just seems mind-blowing to many people. It's like, wait a minute, hold up. You're a developer on the system. Why don't you just get a Nintendo Switch 2? And for those who don't know, dev kits aren't the actual retail units, so those are different. You probably have to obviously keep those at work, you know? So I think that people thinking, oh, you can just take home the Switch 2 that he's using for the dev kit. Not exactly, right? So Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai has revealed, kind of like every other normal person, he had to purchase a Nintendo Switch 2 system retail in Japan. He stated that as part of the My Nintendo Store lottery in Japan, he was able to secure the pre-order June 5th, and he's very thankful that he did. But I think that this isn't just about him getting a free Switch or not or whatever. He obviously could have got one. Nintendo would have given him one, frame one, if he wanted to. What this is about is Sakurai being a down-to-earth dude and thinking just like everybody else. He doesn't put himself above anybody when it comes to people in Japan. He has a very good love and appreciation for the history, the art, and the business of video gaming, but mainly thinking, hey, look, he's going to buy what he needs to buy to support the video game industry overall in Japan, as that's one of their biggest industries that they do have. Obviously, they have anime, they have cars, they have video games, they have so many different things, but video games is his passion. So I think it's more about him being humble, knowing where he comes from, and wanting to be just like everyone else and say, hey, I'm going to try to buy this normally and not use his advantage that he does have. So I think it's pretty cool overall. Sakurai is hard at work on the Kirby Air Riders game. Some people think that he's not going to make Smash Brothers or isn't making Smash Brothers, and I would say that you are gullible if that's the case, because this man, Masahiro Sakurai, can definitely multitask. We know that he can. He's absolutely working on Kirby Air Riders, but he's also working on Super Smash Brothers, and I do think that there is going to be a reveal next year at some point. Don't know if it's going to launch next year, but I think that there will be a reveal next year. Nintendo usually likes to have Super Smash Bros. Games out within the first year and a half or so of a system launch. So you can expect Smash Brothers to probably get a reveal next year in 2026, or maybe this year, but probably next year. But what do you guys think overall about all the different topics that we went over, from Pokemon to the Nintendo Switch 2, what's going on there with the launch date, pre-orders, and Masahiro Sakurai's Nintendo Switch 2? let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.